Sorry about that, guys. I had thought everything was set up and was ready, and when I came through to have, all the card stuff here, everything is ready to show you. And then I looked at my laptop, and my laptop was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. So it did a bit of mandatory reboot and update. But good news is, I think everything's working. I'd love to know how I'm sounding because I have a new microphone. Look at this snazzy little clip-on thing, and there's no wires, which means I can walk about. So if I need to go and pick up a stamp set, or if I've forgotten something that I need for my crafting, let's sort that camera a little bit. There we go, that's a bit better. Then I can move around. I'm mobile. It's fabulous. So I have got some crafting for us tonight. I'm going to show you a design that I have made, and I'm going to get you to choose which colour we do it in. But I've also got some really interesting news. So just before we do, let's put the colour combinations up for you to choose from, and then I can talk while you guys are voting, and then we'll get to the good stuff. So let me flick around. Let me put on our Blackpool illuminations. I hope you guys are staying safe and cozy. It's absolutely brutal out there at the moment. So, right, this is the card design that I am going to make tonight. We have got the pumpkin pie and the daffodil delight version, so orange and yellow. We've got the melon mambo and the bubble bath version, so pink. And we've got the blackberry bliss and fresh freesia version, purple. So in the comments, let me know which one you want to see, orange, pink or purple, and whichever one gets the most votes, that's what we shall make tonight. It's the same design for all of them, and it's the same process for all of them. It's just they're different colours. So while you guys are deciding and voting, I'm just very quickly going to let you know that the Spring Summer mini catalogue, so the January to April mini catalogue, has now gone live. There are some really gorgeous things in there, and the celebration promotion has also started. So the January to April, as the name suggests, runs from just now until the end of April, or while stocks last. So while things get close to the end of April, some stuff occasionally goes out of stock. The celebration offer starts now and runs until the 28th of February. And basically, many of you have been through celebration before, but basically for every £55 that you spend from either the mini catalogue or the annual catalogue or any of our other brochures or offerings, for every £55 you get to choose one of these freebies. And if you spend £110, then there are even fancier freebies. So the papers that we're using today are actually one of the freebies. So this is the Bloom Impressions 12 by 12 designer series paper. So these papers here are a freebie. And the stamp set that I'm using as well is also a freebie, I believe, she says. Pretty sure it is. Nope, it's not. This one linked together is from the Spring Summer catalogue from the January to April. So I'll show you as I put them together. Hey Shona, hey Karen. So yeah, we've got the mini catalogue, we've got the celebration brochure, we've got the annual catalogue. We've also got a scrapbooking brochure that's gone live as well. So if you're into scrapbooking, journaling, memory keeping, there's some really, really gorgeous items in that too. For those who've just joined, we're having a vote. This is the card that I'm going to show you how to make today. Do you want it to be the orange and yellow, or pumpkin pie and daffodil delight for being official? Do you want the melon mambo and bubble bath, or the blackberry bliss and fresh freesia? At this stage, I think whichever vote comes in first, that's what I'm going to go and pick. So if you want to see one of these colorways, speak now. I have, over the last few days, been making, I think I've made 60 70 of these cards now, maybe 60. And they have gone out with my catalogues. So if anybody who's purchased from me in the last 6 months will be receiving one of these cards with their goodies. And my VIPs are also receiving this card tutorial and a little pack to make up the cards yourself. So the tutorial will be available to download on my website. I'm just getting that sorted just now, but this is the video where I'm going to show you how to make it. No votes. There are a couple of people logged on, but you're just shy. Right. We'll do eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by the toe. If it squeals, let it go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and you are not it. Not it? Is that how this works? You know what? You are it. There we go. Or you are it. That means, oh, I've lost count. We'll do the middle one. There we go. I think it's going to be. So this is Melon Mambo, Bubble Bath, and the paper that matches. So let me just grab that. Oh, I've also got a snazzy new microphone so I can move it. Mango. Mango's not one of the, it's Melon Mambo or Pumpkin Pie, Shona. So I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but this one's the one we're doing now anyway. So Melon Mambo. I have a new microphone, which means that I can walk around and still talk to you. It's a wireless microphone. Got it for Christmas. So I am very pleased with my new toy. So we need that, we need that, we need the DSP, which is just over here, and some white cardstock as well. Melon Mambo. Good. That is indeed the one we are going for. So I have got my pack of Designer Series paper. I have got a sheet of Melon Mambo, a sheet of Bubble Bath, a sheet of basic white, and let's pull out this pink here. Right. I'm going to give you all the measurements as we go, but as I say, there is going to be a tutorial that you can download for free on my website, and I shall email about that as well. Let's start off with the card base. So I'm putting it, let's adjust the camera a little. There we go. I'm putting it into my trimmer and I'm taking it to 10.5 centimeters and scoring at 10.5, and then turning it around and cutting it at 14.8 to create 2 card blanks. Nice and easy start. Then I'm going to take my Bubble Bath and I'm going to cut, this is where I need to just double check. I'm pretty sure it's 4 inches I was doing, because then I can do 8 of these at a time. Yeah. So I'm going to do a 4-inch strip of Bubble Bath. And then I'm going to take my basic white and I'm going to do 2 1 centimeter strips. Now this is if you're making this card in multiples, which I am, because this is also going to be the card I'm going to send out with anybody who orders from me this month, and I'm being optimistic and hopeful that people will order from me. I'm going to cut my strip of DSP at 3 inches. And then I'm going to cut this at 4 inches. So for each card, you need a there we go. For each card, you need a 3-inch by 4-inch strip of DSP. And as I say, I'm doing these in multiples, so I'm just going to cut those other 2 pieces. So basically, from a 3-inch strip, you get 4 pieces. So you get 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 times 2, 12. So you'd get 12 of these cards from a single sheet of DSP. Okay, and once I've done that, I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to put it back in. Hey Julie, don't worry about it. And I'm going to cut it again at 2.5 inches. Okay, so now I have a piece that is 3 inches by 2.5 and 3 inches by 1.5. Okay, pop them to one side. That's all the stuff that I need cut. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to start with my card base. I have to say thank you to the lovely Julie who came round and crafted with me at the weekend, and she cut and prepared a whole load of my card bases. So thank you very much, lovely Julie. What we're going to do here is use this embossing folder. This is the Starstruck embossing folder, which at first I thought, meh, it's more flowers. Who needs more flowers? But it's not. Look at this. Can you see? They're like tiny little stars. Let's see if I can hold that up with something at the back. Can you see they're all little stars? I'm just going to have to emboss it and show you. So I'm going to take my card base and I'm going to put it inside my embossing folder and close it over. Now, I am using my cut and emboss, which means this is a standard embossing folder, not a 3D embossing folder. So I need my base plate number 1 and then 2 of my clear plates. Put on the top. Let's use my cut and emboss machine, and I'm going to crank this through. The size of card blanks that we use do fit in through the cut and emboss machine, so you can just emboss directly onto a card blank. Look at that. Isn't that really cute? I think it's gorgeous. Love it. Let's pop that back down there. So I have got the whole front piece of my card is now embossed. I still want to do the score line again, so the best way to do that is to fold it so that the embossed side is face down and the smooth side is up, and then just go over with your bone folder again gently. And that way it will still give you a nice sharp fold, but it won't have destroyed all your embossing on the front. Okay. Next, we're going to put our pieces of designer series paper onto the card. But before we do that, I didn't know if you could see, but on the original design that I did, there's some of this gorgeous gold sparkly trim down the center. So it just gives it something. It gives it some sparkle. Now, when I was doing these at the weekend, the way that I was doing it was a bit of a faff. I'm not going to lie, I have worked out an easier way to do it. So this is my where I want my designer series papers to be. So I'm going to remember that that's my bottom piece there, and that's my top piece there. Let's start with this. I'm going to take my gold trim, which I've used nearly the whole reel already. This is mad. I'm going to have to just get another one. And I'm going to take some tear tape and stick the tear tape down along the top of the reverse of my designer series paper. Okay. Then I'm going to fold it over, position it at the top of the card, and then I'm going to take about another inch from the bottom of the DSP. So the DSP finishes there. I want to take it to about there, and so I'm going to cut. You don't need to be too precise about this. Okay, let's just pop that to one side. And then I'm going to do the same again with the larger piece. You've noticed here I'm actually putting my bone folder down to help hold the trim in position, because then I can get my piece of tear tape. I can tear it to the right size that I want. I can line up my DSP so that the trim is centered. Stick that down. And then turn it upside down and fold it over just like that. And then this is going to be at the base of my card. And I want to take that up again about an inch, maybe an inch and a half from the top. Okay. So now I have my 2 pieces of designer series paper with my 2 bits of trim attached to them. Now I'm going to stick it down to my card base that's got the embossing on it. So when you're sticking something down onto something that's already been embossed, I like to use Tombow because it helps you get a better coverage. But you'll notice I also took off the backing of the tear tape because there's glue there. Why wouldn't you use it? Right. I'm holding my DSP by the bit of trim here, and I'm folding it down and just catching it at the end that didn't have the tape. Okay. And I'm just going to position it so the folded under edge is at the top, making sure that my card blank is the right way around. Go on, ask me how I know to check that one. And then sticking that down firmly onto my card blank. There we go. Now let's do the same with the other one. So starting by taking off the backing for my tear tape. Using my Tombow. And then again, so picking it up using the trim, folding it so that the trim is over the top, and then just catching it with my finger at this piece here, and then positioning it so that the folded over edge is at the base of my card. Card opens like that, so it's at the base. Now, once you've done 60 of these, you'll be able to eye this pretty well, but I want this piece to be lined up with that piece, so I want them to be in the center. So if you're not sure, like start it nearer the top and then work your way down. You could, I suppose, also use your grid paper and do lines. It's not going to matter if they're not perfectly lined up because there's a big enough gap in the middle. And then stick that down. Okay, so now I have my card that's got this weird bit sticking up the top here, and that weird bit sticking down the bottom there. So my next step is to take a couple of dimensionals, and I'm using the larger dimensionals here. I'm going to take this bit of trim from the bottom and just hold it on here, and then take the piece of trim from the top and put it over the top of the other piece, and then stick it down with dimensionals. And because the trim has got so many gaps in it, that sticks and that holds really well. So now I have my strip that goes all the way down the centre of the card, but is still tucked in nicely at the top and the bottom, so you can't see it on the other side, and there's no fraying edges or anything like that to worry about. Right, onto the home stretch now. Just need to do the sentiment in the middle. So I am using this particular die, but I'm using a two-tone effect for this. So I'm going to position my die in the bottom left-hand corner of my paper. And then with my 1 centimetre strip of basic white, I'm just going to put trusty Tombow all the way along that. The length of the strip, or the width of the strip, is the same width as an A4 piece of paper. I'm going to see if you hold the strip round about in the middle, okay, and then position it so that it's not in the center, it's about 2/3 up from the bottom, and then take away your die. Don't worry too much about it being straight or level. If it's really squint, it's not going to work, but it doesn't have to be perfectly level right the way along. And then, because I'm doing this in bulk, I'm going to make 4 of these at the same time. I'm just going to do the same with the other piece of the cardstock. Now, Emma, you might be saying, I don't want to do 4 pieces, Emma. I just want to do 1 or 2. So could I just cut the 1 piece out? You could, but if you do it this way, it's going to make the next step easier. Okay, this is one of these trust the process type things. Okay, so let me stick that all the way down. Sorry, I've just realised this grotty plaster on my finger. I cut myself really quite badly with quite a sharp knife. So sorry that I've got a grotty plaster on. Let's cut off that little bit that's fraying though. I apologise if the plaster looks grotty, but believe me, the finger underneath looks even more grotty. Right, let's get my cut and emboss back up. And this time it's just a standard die. So I'm using plate 1, plate 2, and my 2 clear plates. So I'm going to position my piece in. If you do it slightly at an angle, I find they cut better. And I'm going to position my die so that this white strip is parallel with the very top of the die, and I've left just a tiny little gap at the top here. I would see it's maybe, it's not even 1/4 of an inch, maybe 1/8 of an inch. It's about, well, I'll cut it out and then you'll see it. So and just roll it through. Oops, roll it back on my Tombow. There you go. So now I've got this lovely 2-tone label with the pink and the white. Just because this is going to make the next step easier, I'm going to cut out the other ones as well. It'll all make sense. You're going, Emma, we don't understand. Why are you doing this? Patience, all will become clear. I've just realised when I use my trimmer, I have it sitting landscape in front of me and I use it from left to right. But when I use my cut and emboss, I actually prefer to have it portrait and do it backwards and forwards. The only reason I'm doing it landscape is because it's easier to show you guys on camera. So, but normally I would sit it like this. Let's try this. So for speed for the other 2, because I don't want to bore you. While I'm positioning this label, remember how I said don't worry if the white strips aren't perfectly straight. That's because you're going to be positioning a die over them anyway. So if they weren't perfectly straight, it's not going to matter when you just cut the die, cut it out at the position that you want. All right, that was 3. I'm going to cut out the 4th one. I know I often do cards in bulk, and honestly, I would strongly urge you, when you're making a card, once you've got a design that you've made and that you like, and while you've still got all the pieces out there in front of you, make another one. Always make 2, because if you have made a birthday card, you're going to need another birthday card for somebody else at some point, unless you only know one person. And you know me, so you know more than one person already. But chances are, if you've needed one birthday card, you're going to need another one. And if you've made a design that you like, then just make it again. Or if you've made it and you thought, do you know what, that would have looked really nice in blue or green, make it in another colour. Right, this is the piece that I'm left over with. Does look familiar, Mum. Yes, we did start off with showing them at the start, so I don't feel like I'm conning people much. The piece that I've used to cut out my shapes, I'm going to cut it in half. And this piece that I've got here, I'm going to use as a template. Now I'm using my trusty Stamparatus, which I love and which we no longer sell. So if you've got one, use it, love it, enjoy it. If you don't have one, then use whatever equivalent you've got, or just use clear blocks and stamp that way. But because I'm doing these in bulk, I find it so much easier to use the Stamparatus. So I'm going to put my magnets to hold that firmly in place. Then I'm going to take one of my tag pieces and I'm going to put it back into the hole that I cut it from. Okay. Now, the stamps that I'm using, as I say, it's one from the new Spring Summer catalogue. It's called Link Together. And the ones that I'm going to use are Wishing You a Happy Day. So first of all, I'm going to take the a Happy Day. That's it. Had it upside down. It's not inked. I know it looks a bit pink right now. It's just because I've used it an awful lot over the last few days. It still stamps perfectly well and it's still perfectly clean. I'm going to position that on the tag where I want it to be. All right. And then I'm going to take my plate round and have my stamp stick to that plate. Then I'm going to put the tag back in there and I'm going to use this one, Wishing You. And I'm going to place that in the centre of that white band that's along the top of the shape. And then bring my other plate down, have the stamp attached to it. Doesn't matter that it sticks there. Let's do that. Right. So now the colours that I'm using for this card. So Melon Mambo, that's the ink that matches the card base. And Bubble Bath, that's the ink that matches the label base. Hey Jean. So I'm going to ink up my stamp and then bring it down onto the Wishing You. And then I'm going to ink up my other stamp and bring that round as well. There we go. And that's my label. Now, I'm not going to do all of them, but I am just going to show you that once you've got it set up, you can then just take all of your other labels that you've cut out, put them into the hole in the template that you've created, and keep stamping. So it means you don't have to reposition every time. You have already done all your die cutting. You could do more die cutting if you wanted to. If you wanted to do it in different colours, you can do that as well. As I say, I'm not going to do all of them just now because I don't want to bore you. But that is the way to do all your labels. Let's put that to one side. I'm not cleaning that off just now because I am going to finish off and make the rest of the cards. So let's go back to our card base. So we've got 2 dimensionals there already. So I just need a couple more on the bottom. I'm going to put them in the bottom corners of my label. These as well. And then holding this, I'm just going to position it in this gap in between the 2 bits of DSP and stick it down. And then just to finish off, you can see I've nearly finished this whole pack of sequins as well. These are the purple adhesive backed sequins. And I did some of them with like the dark. I think that's meant to be like a dark purple, but actually it looks really nice. It goes really well with the Melon Mambo. Or I could use the paler ones because that goes really nice with the Bubble Bath. I think for these ones I'm going to use the dark. And just put a couple of these on either side of my sentiment. And there you go. That is, you can't really see the Wishing You because it's a bit pale, but that is the card. And as I showed you at the start, I also did it in Pumpkin Pie and Daffodil Delight. And this one was done in Blackberry Bliss and Fresh Freesia. So this was the variety. And sometimes if you're thinking, oh, but Emma, you know what colours go well together. I wouldn't have known which of these colours to go. Well, here's the tip on how to do that. So the papers, the designer series papers, they tell you on the back what the colours are. So the colours in these papers, if I look at this yellow one with the orange, it tells me on the back that it's Daffodil Delight and Pumpkin Pie. So I know I can pair those two colours together and they'll go with these. The same with the Blackberry Bliss or the Melon Mambo. It tells you the colours on the back of the paper. So these are the cards which have gone out with the catalogues. As I say, I'm going to be putting the tutorial up on my website very shortly that you can download all the measurements. And this is the video showing you how to make this lovely card. And I'm also going to be sending out these cards and card packs to make this card with people who have purchased from me recently and from those who purchased for me over the next month. So I hope you have enjoyed that. Hey, Ali, lovely to see you. Right. That's all I had for you this evening. I have got a lot, though, to show you next week. So we've got new kits, we've got scrapbooking, we've got celebration, we've got the spring-summer catalogue, there's clearance rack stuff, there's so much going on right now. Check out my website. So shopwithemma.co.uk. It'll take you to the Stampin Up website, but you'd be shopping with me. If you find you've got a wish list that's getting out of control, remember that the celebration offer to join and to get the starter kit is really, really good. So if you want more information, just reach out to me and I'm more than happy to help. No strings attached. I'll answer all of your questions with no obligations. And yeah, lovely seeing you and have a really good new year. Stay safe out there. It's very icy and cold. And happy crafting. Take care. Bye.